Hey, everybody, Rory McDonald from MacDon Associates coming to you with the newest episode of Tuesdays with Rory. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking through the National Associations of Realtors' most recent settlement that just took place. We're waiting for it to be approved. However, specifically what we're going to be talking about is how this has implications to change the real estate market for any of you out there who are purchasers in today's real estate market here in Michigan, truthfully around the United States. So stay tuned. So before we actually jump into this, one of the things that I really want you guys to understand, and this is just to give you context of how the real estate market in Michigan in particular works right now. For any given listing that goes on the market, the average commission, and this may range anywhere from 4 all the way up to 8%, is 6%, meaning me as representation of the seller, the commission that is due on average is 6%. That's the average of what most real estate agents charge. So if you're, for the sake of round numbers, $100,000 house, the commission that is due on that house is $6,000. Now, one of the things that we do, and it's in our listing agreements that we have with the seller, is we advertise to purchasers, to agents, hey, if you bring us a purchaser, me, Rory McDonald over here at eXp Realty Clinton Township, is willing to take my commission, split it, or give a portion to an agent who is able to bring a purchaser to us. So it's not an expectation that like, hey, no matter what, you're going to get paid this, but we are taking our commission, we're splitting it, we're giving it to a purchasing agent to represent you as the buyer and bring us a buyer for that home. These numbers are represented on the MLS, the multiple listing service. So when we're sending you houses, or if you're looking on Zillow, for example, it has this listed right now that we're able to look at what it is that we would get paid for any given house that comes across us to us. That might be a flat fee of $500. That might be a flat fee of $5,000. It might be a percentage of the sales price of that home, which could range, like I said, anywhere from 0.5% all the way up to 5%. I've seen that on some cases too. But we know walking through the house what the commission is that's due on any given home. And that commission is not paid to us again, through the purchaser. It is paid to us right now through the seller and is advertised. It is shown on the MLS. So what this lawsuit essentially revolves around is price fixing. What a lot of attorneys are coming back and saying is, hey, you real estate agents, you have been price fixing, and the National Association of Realtors has something to do with this. So we are going after them, as well as big companies like EXP, Keller Williams, Remax, and some other companies throughout the United States who have settled already with this case. And what they're essentially saying is you guys have artificially kept the price of selling a home artificially high to benefit you and not benefit your client, preventing them from netting and taking home that 6% fully. So basically what they're saying is it's not right. It's not right that you are giving a commission away to somebody to represent another person in any given transaction. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be advertised. It should 100% fall on the client, on the buyer, unless the seller off the MLS through conversation and a part of the offer, which is actually how it works in commercial real estate, submits an offer and they say, hey, this is what my commission is on this particular transaction. It is a part of the offer. And in that case, the seller would pay it. This is how commercial real estate works. Whenever it is that we are representing a buyer who's wanting to purchase a commercial piece of property, one of the things that we submit to them is also our commission that is due upon closing for bringing them a purchaser for this commercial property. It is advertised some cases, especially if it's on the MLS, but some other commercial specific sites don't have that. So you have to work that into your commission. Now, here's where this changes things in the real estate market for you guys as buyers, as purchasers. One of the things that we're learning about and we're growing in trying to maneuver all of this is we as real estate agents, we need to be compensated in some way. Again, whether it's a flat fee for representing you or a percentage base for representing you, we're going to be compensated in some way. You wouldn't expect us to work for free. So what we're doing is, and where this is going to end up going, is having what's called a buyer agency agreement. These buyer agency agreements already exist. They're probably not going to change in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But essentially what they say is hey, My name is Rory. I work with eXp Realty Clinton Township, and as representation for you, I am going to be compensated, and here's the amount that I'm going to be compensated for representing you. Now, in the case that the seller is offering a commission, I will take that commission. There's a chance that you might have to make up for the difference in that commission, but here's how I would like to be compensated for representing you. Excuse me. That's a piece that we have already worked into our system here within MacDon Associates, and a lot of other real estate agencies do too. However, it's not a requirement. It's not something that's an absolute need. We can still be compensated by the seller for bringing a purchaser to the table to close and buy that house, even though we might not have an agreement with our particular buyer to find them a home for them and represent and negotiate on their behalf with the seller and the listing agent. That is what's changing. Because of that change, because the compensation is no longer listed from a seller to a buyer's agent, we're really relying a lot on our purchasers. So just to give you a quick example, let's just pretend I'm representing you as the buyer. You're again buying a $100,000 house, and my compensation for representing you is 3%. Your closing cost just went up $3,000 unless the seller is willing to make up that difference. And in most cases, if they don't have to, they're not going to. But I can also say that about purchasers. Speaking to you specifically right now, if you're a buyer in this market and I'm representing you and you just increased your closing cost by another $3,000, that's a big amount, especially if you're buying your first house. You've saved up all this money to be able to purchase. You know that there's stuff like taxes and insurance, your down payment, there's a title fee, there's all kinds of things that are involved in purchasing a house and in your closing costs. Now to add an additional amount on top of that has the ability to be not just super detrimental to people, but put them in a position where they can no longer afford to buy a house. Because of that, it's going to end up changing how you as buyers interact with the real estate market and look at houses. You're going to end up changing and seeing a lot of agents who are super heavy focused on the buyer side transaction, representing purchasers and not necessarily representing sellers, going away completely. Because hypothetically speaking, you as the buyer, let's say, I want to go buy a condo in Shelby Township, and I'm looking around, I'm trying to find this condo, and eventually I find one. I can do one of two things. I can go and I can find myself representation, which personally I believe that you should, so that you know the next steps and you're protected in such a way to where you're not representing yourself. You can go and you can get representation, and you're going to now have to, in most cases, pay for that representation. Or you can go directly to the listing agent, represent yourself, ask some questions to family, friends, or whoever else is that might be able to instruct you in what it is that you should do, and buy that house that way. It's going to cut out a lot of buyers agents. So a lot of, new agents specifically who represent a lot of purchasers in today's market, you're going to see them get out of the market completely. And I saw a statistic recently, and just in conversations with people, they're expecting anywhere from 50 to 60% of the real estate agents that are in the market right now, somewhere around 1 million real estate agents, to completely get out of the business altogether, because they're literally not going to be able to afford to do business, to help you as a buyer. If they're not being paid to do it, they can't do it. They can't help you anymore. So this has the ability to really change things a ton for you as purchasers, specifically. As sellers, not a ton changes for you. What it is that you might be charged on a commission might be different. It might change. It might still be around that, 5-6%. It might drop down all the way to 4%. We really don't know. This is new. However, the big people who this ends up changing a lot of things for are buyers, specifically first-time buyers who don't know the process of buying a house, who don't know what the steps are when it comes to purchasing, don't know a good quality inspector, a good quality loan officer. It's going to be really, really difficult and hard for you guys when it comes to looking at the right houses. So things are going to change. Things are going to be different for you as buyers, and really change the way that this market works. So if you have questions about that, if you want more information regarding the settlement, I'll be happy to send you kind of the fact sheet that NAR and the National Association of Realtors printed out, just kind of laying out everything that's changing within the real estate market. But like I said, it has the ability to change things. So if I'm suggesting anything to anybody who is considering buying a house right now, my suggestion for you is to jump on this as fast as possible. Start looking and start getting in houses and putting in offers on houses as fast as possible, because you can now have representation from a buyer's agent that costs you nothing. It's still the seller who's paying this. This hasn't been fully laid out and changed. Nothing has changed just yet. It's just talks of changes coming. So if you're a buyer who's looking, honestly, this puts the pedal to the metal for you guys in, hey, let's move, let's go, let's make this happen, because we don't want to have to fork over an additional amount of money to be represented by an agent. So that's my 2 cents on it. That's my thoughts on it. I'm going to have a whole nother video just dedicated to the real estate side of this and how this affects real estate agents specifically. So if you want to see that, you can tune in for that as well. But if you have any questions regarding this, reach out to us over here at MacDon Associates at Clinton Township EXP. We would be happy to point you in a direction and explain more deeply what this means for you, what implications this has for you when it comes to getting your family in a home. And we can kind of go from there. But I'm super thankful for you guys checking out this video. Besides that, you have a blessed day. See ya.